Chosen one, pause. Right here. Do not scroll. Do not rush past this moment. What is unfolding right now is not random, not algorithmic, and not accidental. You have stepped into a divine interruption, a moment where heaven itself presses into your timeline. This is an appointed intersection, carefully orchestrated beyond what the natural mind can explain. Long before you clicked, before you searched, before you even thought you needed a word, this moment was marked. Heaven has been leaning toward you, and now it has your attention. This is not just another message meant to inspire or entertain. This is an impartation, a release, a transfer that requires your spiritual awareness to be fully awake. There is a supernatural shift in motion, specifically in the realm of provision, alignment, and divine resources. What you have prayed for quietly, what you have hoped for without words, what you thought might never come, it is being activated now. This is not about chasing money or striving for gain. This is about a holy transfer, a financial breakthrough that carries purpose, stewardship, and responsibility. Heaven is not just blessing you, it is positioning you. If you felt an unusual urgency, a stirring in your spirit, or a sense that something is about to happen, that is not imagination. That is discernment. The atmosphere around you is charged. Heaven is intervening, interrupting cycles of lack, delay, and confusion. This is why you were told inwardly not to scroll away. Your spirit recognized the timing before your mind could explain it. You are being asked to listen, not casually, but attentively, because moments like this do not repeat easily. Understand this clearly. You are not receiving new information. You are stepping into divine alignment. This is a convergence where preparation meets release. Every season you endured, every stretch where resources felt tight, every lesson learned in faithfulness was leading here. You are standing inside a divinely timed intersection where heaven meets earth, where intention becomes manifestation. Stay present. Stay open. Heaven is actively moving now, and you are not here by chance. You are here by appointment. As this divine moment continues to unfold, heaven now draws attention to something you have rarely allowed yourself to name out loud, the weight you've been carrying. This is where the message deepens, because before breakthrough is announced, acknowledgement must be made. Chosen one, the pressure on your life has not been invisible. The strain on your finances, the uncertainty surrounding your work, the constant mental calculations, and the quiet endurance you've practiced in silence have all been seen. You learned how to function while tired, how to smile while stretched, how to keep moving while internally asking, how much longer you've carried responsibilities that felt heavier than your resources. You've shown up even when discouragement whispered that your effort wasn't worth the return. Some days, the battle wasn't loud, it was subtle. Waking up with resolve, going to bed with unanswered questions, doing everything right, yet watching progress move slowly, if at all. And while others may have missed it, heaven never did. God saw the moments when bills felt louder than your prayers, when hope felt fragile, when endurance became your daily offering. There were seasons when exhaustion didn't come from laziness or lack of faith, but from sowing into ground that seemed unwilling to respond. And yet, even in those moments, something sacred was happening. Your suffering was not wasted. It was shaping capacity, sharpening discernment, and strengthening spiritual authority. This is where a deeper truth emerges, a spiritual law that governs transitions. When God speaks, cycles break. Not gradually, not eventually, but decisively. What you have been enduring was never meant to define you. It was meant to position you. Heaven does not overlook prolonged faithfulness. Your exhaustion has reached the ears of God, and it has triggered a response. This moment marks the shift from silent endurance to divine intervention. Heaven is not observing anymore. Heaven is speaking. As heaven responds to what you've endured, it now reveals why the battle has been so intense, especially in the area of finances. This is not a random struggle, and it is not a reflection of weakness. Chosen one, what you have been facing is financial warfare, and warfare only erupts where there is threat. The instability, the unpredictability, the constant pressure around provision did not arise because you lacked discipline or wisdom. It arose because the enemy recognized something dangerous about your future. The truth is simple, but sobering. The enemy does not fear a tired, depleted, surviving version of you. He fears the stable version, the resourced version, the confident, debt-free, focused version of you who is no longer consumed by survival and therefore free to build, create, give, and influence. That version of you becomes a disruptor. It funds vision. It sustains calling. It moves with authority. And that is precisely why pressure intensified around your finances long before you ever saw increase. This is why the pressure felt personal, why the attacks seemed cyclical, cycles of almost enough, cycles of unexpected expenses, cycles of starting over just as momentum began to form, cycles of delay, limitation, embarrassment, and frustration that repeated themselves with eerie precision. These patterns were not accidental. They were strategic attempts to keep you distracted, drained, and doubting what God placed inside you. But hear this clearly. Pressure is proof of potential. You were not attacked because you were failing. You were attacked because of what you are meant to build. The enemy has never been fighting your paycheck. He has been fighting your assignment. And now that heaven is intervening, those cycles are being exposed, confronted, and dismantled. The very warfare that tried to break you has revealed your calling. As the reality of the battle is exposed, the message now shifts not toward analysis, but toward action. Heaven is not standing at a distance studying your cycles, measuring your effort, or evaluating your endurance. Heaven has already rendered a decision, and that decision is intervention. Chosen one, the season of diagnosis is ending because the season of divine disruption has begun. What repeated despite your prayers, your discipline, and your perseverance is no longer being tolerated in the spirit. There are chains that did not originate in behavior, habit, or strategy. They were deeper than budgeting, deeper than hard work, deeper than positive thinking. These were spiritual weights, patterns attached to assignment resistance aimed at destiny. And God does not ask you to lift what was never meant to be carried by human strength. This is why effort alone felt insufficient. This is why progress sometimes collapsed without warning. You were contending with something that required heaven's authority, not more striving. Now, hear this with clarity. God is stepping into the space where you reached your limit. What resisted you is meeting a force it cannot overpower. What exhausted you is being confronted by a strength that does not tire. This is not gradual improvement. This is divine interruption. The chains are not being negotiated with, they are being broken. The weight is not being redistributed, it is being removed. Chosen one, you were never meant to carry this alone. The pressure you endured was the signal, not the solution. And now the solution has arrived. Heaven is lifting what was too heavy. God is carrying what crushed you. He is breaking what outlasted your effort. This is not because you finally did enough, but because the appointed moment arrived. When God intervenes, cycles do not weaken, they end. And what ends in the spirit must eventually end in the natural. As divine intervention begins to dismantle what restrained you, the next movement of heaven often feels confusing to the natural mind. This is where many misinterpret what God is doing. Doors close. Familiar ground shifts. What once felt stable no longer holds you the same way. But chosen one, this is not regression. It is repositioning. Scripture reveals a consistent pattern. God moves a person before he multiplies them. Before Abraham received the promise, he was moved from the familiar into the unknown. Before Joseph was elevated to authority, he was repositioned through betrayal, isolation, and obscurity. Before Esther carried influence that saved a nation, she was removed from her former life and placed in preparation. Even the disciples were repositioned from nets to obedience before supernatural provision followed. In every case, movement came before manifestation. Alignment came before increase. Repositioning is not punishment. It is precision. God is not taking something from you to diminish you. He is removing what cannot sustain what is coming. What felt like loss was actually preparation. What looked like delay was divine sequencing. You were not being rejected. You were being protected. The confusion was not chaos. It was calibration. There are blessings that cannot survive in old environments. There are mantles that collapse weak foundations. This is why God changes the atmosphere around you before releasing the increase into your hands. He adjusts your footing because the weight of what is coming requires stability you did not yet have. Heaven always prepares the ground before releasing the seed. Chosen one, if your life has felt unsettled, it is because God is moving you toward what carries your future. He moves you before he multiplies you, and when the increase comes, it will not crush you, because you will be standing in the place prepared to hold it. As repositioning completes its quiet work, heaven shifts its focus inward, because before God elevates your finances, he elevates your identity. This is a spiritual law many overlook. Income can rise quickly, but identity must be strengthened to sustain it. That is why heaven never rushes the inner work. God does not simply increase what you have, he deepens who you are. Long before visibility comes, character is refined in hidden places. Endurance is built where no one applauds. Authority is formed in seasons where obedience is tested without reward. These unseen moments are not wasted time. They are sacred construction zones. Heaven is shaping the vessel that will carry what is coming. If the container is fragile, the blessing becomes a burden. So God strengthens you first. There were moments, perhaps you remember them, when you asked for promotion, provision, or breakthrough, and instead felt resistance, delay, or silence. But in those seasons, something deeper was happening. Discernment was being sharpened. Discipline was being established. Confidence was being anchored beyond circumstances. You were becoming someone your future required, even if it didn't feel like progress at the time. This is why God builds internally before he blesses externally. He prepares the vessel before he fills it. He stabilizes the foundation before placing weight upon it. The elevation happening within you right now is far more valuable than sudden financial increase without maturity. What is rising inside you cannot be shaken by market shifts, opinions, or temporary setbacks. Chosen one, heaven is not merely preparing your income, it is preparing you. When the increase arrives, it will meet a strengthened identity, a grounded spirit, and an unshakable sense of calling. Because heaven always builds who you are before blessing what you do. As your identity stabilizes and your inner authority matures, heaven begins arranging what no amount of striving could ever produce: divine intersections and heavenly networks. This is the moment where preparation quietly turns into positioning. Doors do not open because you chase them. They open because heaven synchronized the timing. People enter your path not by accident, but by assignment. You will notice it first as subtle alignment, a conversation that feels unusually significant, an aim that keeps surfacing, an opportunity that appears without you pursuing it. These are not random encounters. They are strategic intersections designed by God. Heaven is weaving your name into rooms you have never stepped into yet. Connections are forming in the unseen, long before introductions happen in the natural. When God breathes on a gift, visibility follows naturally. You are not being pushed into the spotlight. You are being recognized because heaven has already endorsed you. Favor moves ahead, few softening hearts and opening minds. People with influence, access, and authority begin noticing what was always there, but previously overlooked. This is not self-promotion. It is divine confirmation. Heaven's endorsement always precedes earthly recognition. The world may not understand why doors are opening for you, but heaven does not ask for permission. When God highlights someone, no system can permanently ignore them. Your gift carries weight now because it carries alignment. Your presence shifts rooms because it carries authority, refined in secret. Chosen one, do not underestimate these intersections. Respond with humility, discernment, and readiness. Some connections are temporary confirmations. Others are long-term assignments. Trust heaven's orchestration. What God connects cannot be replicated by effort alone. And remember this truth: as it unfolds, what heaven endorses, the world eventually notices. As these divine connections begin forming, and heaven quietly aligns the right people, places, and opportunities, the next sign of breakthrough appears within you first. This is where the internal shift signals the external change long before your circumstances catch up. What you have been feeling lately, the restlessness, the quiet stirring, the sense that something is no longer fitting, is not confusion. It is divine activity at work beneath the surface. Before God changes what surrounds you, He transforms what anchors you. Internal shifts always precede external breakthroughs. That is why the awakening begins in your thoughts, your desires, and your standards. You may feel an unexplainable pull toward clarity, a hunger for stability, or a sudden intolerance for chaos you once managed. This is not impatience, it is prophecy unfolding inside your spirit. Restlessness in this season is not a sign that something is wrong. It is evidence that something is being rearranged. Heaven is signaling that you are outgrowing survival patterns and being prepared for sustainability. The discomfort you feel is the tension between where you have been and where you are being taken. Your spirit recognizes the future before your eyes can see it. You are craving alignment because misalignment can no longer hold you. You are desiring order because what God is building requires structure. You are longing for peace because the next season will demand clarity. These internal shifts are heaven's early indicators, confirmations that change has already been authorized in the unseen. Chosen one, trust what is happening inside you. God never stirs without intention, and He never awakens desire without provision. What you feel rising within you is the guarantee that transformation has already begun. The change you feel inside guarantees change outside. As the inner shifts become undeniable and the stirring within you grows louder, the next divine work unfolds in the realm of your thinking. This is where mindset renewal and capacity expansion take place, not as motivational theory, but as spiritual preparation. The enemy has always targeted the mind first, because the mind carries strategy. What you believe determines what you build, what you tolerate, and what you expect. That is why old thought patterns are being exposed and altered now, not to shame you, but to free you. For a long time, survival thinking kept you alive. It taught you how to endure, how to make do, how to stay alert in unstable environments. But survival is not the same as inheritance. As God prepares to increase you, He begins dismantling mindsets that were necessary in past seasons but dangerous in the next. You may notice fear surfacing, insecurity being challenged, or scarcity, thoughts losing their grip. This is not regression. it is cleansing. Every major breakthrough is preceded by a shift in perception. Before the door opens outwardly, it opens inwardly. I have seen it, lived it, and walked through it myself. The moment my thinking changed, my capacity expanded. When I stopped expecting loss, I started recognizing opportunity. When I released fear of collapse, I became able to sustain growth. The breakthrough followed the belief. This is why Scripture speaks of new wine requiring new wineskins. God never pours abundance into a mindset still shaped by lack. He never releases expansion into a vessel trained for contraction. In this season, heaven is renewing how you see provision, authority, responsibility, and worth. Old agreements with fear are being revoked. Insecurity is being replaced with quiet confidence. Scarcity is being overwritten by stewardship. Chosen one, do not resist this mental renovation. Let God cleanse what no longer fits. Let Him stretch your capacity gently, deliberately, wisely. Your breakthrough begins where your thinking changes and your future is already responding to the renewal happening in your mind. As your mind is renewed and your capacity expands, the season of supernatural reversal and multiplication begins to manifest. This is not gradual improvement or slow recovery. It is a divinely initiated turnaround. What felt like a prolonged financial drought is ending not because you finally figured everything out, but because heaven has responded to your surrender. God does not ignore endurance. He does not overlook quiet faith. He does not forget what was released in obedience when it cost you everything. You may have lived through seasons where resources were thin, where effort seemed unrewarded, where giving felt risky and trusting felt exhausting. But those moments were not wasted. They were seeds placed into unseen soil. Now, divine reversals are being activated. Situations once marked by lack are being rewritten with provision. Doors that remained shut despite striving are opening without strain. Opportunities are aligning where resistance once stood. Understand this clearly. Overflow is not God's exception. It is His design when purpose and alignment meet. Prosperity in this context is not indulgence. It is influence. It is the ability to move, build, bless, and respond without fear. God multiplies not to inflate ego, but to expand impact. Increase comes because generosity is already encoded in your spirit. Heaven entrusts more to those who release freely. This reversal is not random. It is timed. What you surrendered, comfort, control, certainty, pride, heaven is now multiplying with intention. What you laid down in faith is returning with increase and clarity. Expect restoration that goes beyond replacement. Expect provision that carries peace, not pressure. Expect multiplication that brings responsibility, not bondage. Chosen one, do not shrink back when the flow begins. Do not question whether you deserve what God is releasing. You were prepared for this. You were refined for this. You were trusted with this. What you surrendered, heaven is now multiplying, and the turnaround unfolding before you is proof that divine timing has arrived. As the multiplication begins to unfold, a deeper understanding of preparation, stretching, and trust comes into focus, revealing that nothing you endured was accidental. The pressure you felt was not punishment. It was capacity building. God was stretching you internally long before He expanded you externally. Stretching is uncomfortable by nature. It pulls on places you didn't know could grow, exposing limits so they can be enlarged. What felt like strain was actually strengthening. What felt like delay was design. You were shaped in a hidden season where applause was absent and answers were scarce. In that quiet, unseen space, trust was formed, not the shallow kind that depends on outcomes, but the unshakable kind, rooted in knowing who God is. Hidden seasons are sacred because they protect what is becoming. Just as roots grow deeper before branches reach higher, your life was being fortified beneath the surface before visibility was allowed above it. Now the transition from hidden to revealed is underway, and the foundation laid in secrecy will sustain what is shown openly. Think of a seed buried beneath heavy soil. The weight above it is not meant to destroy it, but to activate it. Pressure precedes emergence. Darkness precedes breakthrough. The resistance you faced forced strength into your core. It taught endurance, discernment, and reliance on God rather than circumstances. Without that weight, the seed would never break open. Without that pressure, the rise would never occur. So do not mislabel your past pain. It was not a sign of abandonment, it was evidence of preparation. Every tear watered the soil. Every moment of uncertainty built resilience. Every stretch expanded your capacity to carry what is now arriving. The weight was preparing you to rise, not bury you, and as you step forward, you do so. Not fragile, but forged ready to stand tall in what you were shaped to hold. As you step beyond preparation and into visible movement, divine orchestration and heavenly escort become unmistakable realities, not distant ideas. This is the phase where you begin to notice that doors open without force, conversations shift without effort, and outcomes align without manipulation. God is not merely watching your progress. He is actively influencing decisions, contracts, and conversations on your behalf. Hearts are being softened. Minds are being redirected. Favor is being released in rooms you have not yet entered. You may sense this through subtle confirmations, an unexpected call, a delayed no, turning into a sudden yes, or a conversation that carries unusual weight and clarity. These are not coincidences. They are signs of divine escort. Heaven is walking with you, going ahead of you, and standing behind you all at once. What once required exhausting effort now unfolds through alignment. You are no longer pushing uphill. You are being carried forward by purpose. Because of this orchestration, there is no need to chase force or manipulate outcomes. Striving belongs to seasons of uncertainty. Trust belongs to seasons of escort. When God arranges the path, your role is not control, but obedience. Move when prompted. Speak when led. Pause when instructed. The precision of heaven cannot be improved by human anxiety. What is meant for you will recognize you without struggle. This is why resistance that once delayed you can no longer stop you. People, systems, and circumstances are being repositioned to cooperate with divine timing. Even opposition is being overruled and repurposed. What was sent to block you is now being used to accelerate you. When heaven arranges it, nothing can stop it. No closed door can remain shut. No delay can cancel what has been authorized above. You are not advancing alone. You are being escorted by purpose, favor, and divine authority into what was always appointed for you. As divine orchestration moves you forward, recognition, visibility, and manifestation naturally follow. Not because you demanded attention, but because what God has built in you can no longer remain hidden. This is the moment when the work done in silence begins to speak louder than any announcement. Your voice carries weight now. Your presence shifts atmospheres. Ideas that once lived quietly in your spirit are activating with clarity, structure, and momentum. What was overlooked before is suddenly recognized, not through striving, but through alignment. You may notice that people are listening differently. Opportunities are responding to you. Platforms that once felt inaccessible begin to open organically. This is not accidental exposure. It is appointed visibility. Heaven knows when a vessel is ready to be seen. The delay was never denial. It was development. God was refining your character, stabilizing your identity, and strengthening your discernment so that visibility would not distort you, but amplify what is pure. As creativity awakens, ideas begin to flow with unusual precision and favor. Solutions. Strategies and innovations come with ease because they are sourced beyond intellect. Your work becomes a conduit, not just a product. And in this season, wealth is reframed not as a measure of worth, but as a tool for impact. Resources are entrusted to you because influence now rests on humility, wisdom, and stewardship. Provision increases to support purpose, not ego. At the same time, identity clarity solidifies your confidence. You no longer question whether you belong in the room. You understand why you are there. This inner certainty removes the need for validation. You move with quiet authority, grounded and focused, knowing that your assignment is bigger than approval. What God built in private is about to be revealed publicly, and when it emerges, it will carry authenticity, power, and timing that no imitation can replicate. As visibility increases and purpose sharpens, separation, discernment, and spiritual sight begin to intensify naturally, not as punishment, but as protection. You may notice that your appetite has changed. What once satisfied you no longer does. Conversations that used to energize you now feel empty. Environments you once tolerated now drain you. This shift is not arrogance or isolationism, it is alignment. When elevation begins, your inner compass recalibrates to match where you are going, not where you have been. Alongside this internal shift, your circle starts to change. Some relationships fall away quietly, others end suddenly, and a few remain, but with altered proximity. This is the pruning process at work. God is preparing your destiny by removing what cannot sustain the weight of where you are headed. Every branch cut back is not a loss. It is an investment in fruitfulness. What remains is strengthened. What is removed was never meant to go with you into the next dimension. At the same time, discernment becomes sharper and more precise. You begin to sense motives before words are spoken. You feel resistance beneath compliments and sincerity beneath silence. This heightened spiritual sight is essential because elevation attracts counterfeits as well as opportunities. Not every open door is yours. Not every supporter is safe. Discernment protects what favor exposes. It teaches you when to move, when to wait, and when to walk away without explanation. You may find yourself less reactive and more observant, less impulsive and more intentional. This is wisdom maturing. Spiritual sight allows you to see beyond appearances, beyond urgency, beyond pressure. You are learning to trust what you perceive in alignment with peace, not panic. Elevation filters everything that cannot follow. What leaves now makes room for what is aligned. What falls away was never equipped for your next level. And what remains will walk with you in clarity, truth, and strength as you move forward into what has been prepared for you. As acceleration settles into rhythm, the final activation unfolds as a kairos moment, a divinely appointed intersection where timing, obedience, and alignment converge. This is not a random conclusion to a long journey. It is the seal placed upon everything that has come before. Kairos is not measured by clocks or calendars. It is heaven's now. And you are standing inside it. What you have sensed, what you have prepared for, what you have endured, has brought you to this exact point. The door is open because the time is right. In this sacred moment, confirmation comes quietly but firmly. You may not see angels with your natural eyes yet. Assignments are being dispatched. Support you did not know how to ask for is forming behind the scenes. Provision is not chasing you. You are being led into it. Protection surrounds you, not as fear, but as confidence. Guidance sharpens your discernment so that each step is taken with clarity rather than hesitation. Favor begins to speak for you in rooms you have not yet entered. Now comes the call, not to striving, but to faith. Faith that rests in trust. Faith that expresses itself through gratitude. Gratitude for what has already shifted, even if the full manifestation is still unfolding. Gratitude anchors you in alignment and keeps your spirit receptive. And from that place of gratitude flows obedience, the willingness to move when prompted and to share what has been entrusted to you. What you carry is not meant to end with you. It is meant to awaken others who are standing at their own intersections. So receive this closing blessing as both affirmation and commissioning. You are covered, you are guided, and you are favored. Walk forward without delay, without fear, and without shrinking back. Your manifestation is already in motion. Now, walk aligned and let what heaven has begun come fully to life.